Hey guys, it's Carl. Super quick vid on the HomePod 2nd gen. This was the last Apple product announced from their January announcements. We had the MacBook Pro, the 14/16-inch, the Mac Mini, and of course, the 2nd gen HomePod, which actually hasn't received an update in years now. I actually still have my OG HomePods. I actually asked on Twitter whether people still use them. I know they're technically not supported anymore. There are quite a few of you, and to be honest, I do like my HomePods. I still use them on a regular basis. At home, I've got them paired in a stereo option, but this is the brand new one. Nice to see that we have a brand new update for them. So just like the last gen, they still come in 2 color options, slightly modified for the darker one. That does come in midnight, as well as the white, which you see here. So we'll quickly do an unboxing. I technically unboxed one already and set them up at home. I kept one here just to show off what comes inside of the box. Pretty simple stuff. We just very simply have the HomePod up top. And the first thing that I did notice, the back cable is actually detachable now. On the 1st gen, as well as on the HomePod Mini, those are kind of stuck in place. So it's not gonna make or break your experience, but it's actually nicer for this unboxing. Just keeps the cable management a bit easier on my end. We've also just got the user manuals, warranty info, and like I said, that cable, which will vary on what region you're in. And that is all inside of the box. So they retail for $299 US, $399 Canadian. And at a glance, they look almost identical to the 1st gen in terms of the overall size, the form factor, maybe slight differences up top where we have the actual new screen. It sits a little bit more recessed, and we actually see the plus and minus button compared to the just flush on the 1st gen. On the bottom, I actually just got to remove this here. That's where you'll see another key design difference. So on the 1st gen, we have a bit of a cutout, whereas on the 2nd gen, it's just a bit more flush to sit on the table. Internally, there's a couple differences as well. We actually have one less tweeter on the 2nd gen, so 5 versus 6. We've also got the S7 chip inside, the subwoofer, which can move the driver 20 mils. We also have a new 4 mic array and a new system sensing mechanism inside, so that can actually listen to alarms or smoke alarms going off in your house and send an alert to your iPhone or your iPad, which is really dope. But to set these up, super simple. You just need to download the latest iOS, so 16.3. Just place your iPhone or your device close to the HomePod. It will register and you can get them paired up, and within, I would say, 10 seconds, I was already bumping some music. And in my first listening impressions, I know that audio is always tough to portray over video. I'm not technically an audiophile. I can't really tell you the true depths of what I'm hearing, but even compared to the 1st gen, which I thought sounded pretty good, even though it has less tweeters than the 1st gen, the sound on this was pretty good. It was great, actually. I was listening to a couple songs on Apple Music, even though it's not my preferred streaming platform. I'm usually over on Spotify. It sounded great. And I actually then paired them to my Apple TV and used these as a stereo pair. So that's always the nice option. You can kind of pair them in your home cinema setup if you don't have a dedicated soundbar. One thing that kind of bothered me, if you own, say, one of the 1st gens and one of the 2nd gens, you can't pair these as a stereo pair. You can either just do the 2nd gens on their own or the 1st gens on their own. That is the one downside, and since these aren't supported anymore or aren't updated, these have become relic devices. So if you just own one and you want to pair them right now, unfortunately, you'll just have to buy one off of eBay or just kind of get one off a friend, anyone that has one kicking around like myself. I've got the 2 and I'll hold on to them. And just one thing to keep in mind, if you do transfer them to a different Wi-Fi network, you just need to reset them up, because I did initially set them up at home. Now we're in the studio to record this video. I got a little notification on the Home app that it's not paired to the correct network. But overall, I would say it's a welcome update to the HomePod line. Siri, I would still say, is sometimes a hit or miss. So, hey Siri, is Manchester United the best team on earth?
I found some web results. I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
What's big and red and wiggles in the sky?
What?
A jellycopter.
A jellycopter. Anyways, I'm sure you guys have your opinions on Siri. Obviously useful for telling you just simple things like what the weather is or when your favorite sports team is gonna play next. My home automation isn't that in depth to actually utilize these to say start actual tasks or to start proper sequences. I know that people love their home tech, love voice assistants, but yeah, maybe I'm just not quite there yet. Perhaps I'll just dive a bit more in depth this year.
What's up, everybody? What's up, guys and gals? Hey, guess what? In front of me, I have count them, two of the new HomePods in brown boxes sealed, because you know what? We're gonna do an unboxing of these two. I was trying to make this a little showy, but let's get right into it. So we have both colors. We have white and midnight. I don't know which one's which, so shall I? Did I make a weak sound because I couldn't open it right away? Huh? Ooh, those are nice sounds. Okay, here we go. Let's look at these from the top here. And I'm just gonna kind of try and do my best to reveal them properly so you'll get a nice view of this, okay? Here we go. What is this? Ooh, baby. Look at these. The midnight and the white new HomePod. So let's take them out of the boxes. If I'm doing this properly. And this is like a bunch of thick cardboard. This is gonna go down over here. There you go. And this guy, this is gonna go over here. So we have the boxes right here, midnight, white. When I look at the box, it looks pretty similar to the same color. So let's just, let's unveil these, okay? So I'm gonna flip these here just for the ASMR audience that loves this. We're gonna start with the white first, okay? Here we go. Woo! Yeah. Midnight, will it sound any different? Woo! Always satisfying, always satisfying. All right, so we're gonna put here the white, we're gonna put here the midnight, and I will start here. Whoa, woohoo. Again, whoa, woohoo. All right, so we have the top here, and this is obviously the touch display, I guess you could say. Oh, just for you, okay. And we have the service. Now, let's take out both of these HomePods initially. These are the new second generation HomePods. And just a few differences, if you don't mind me doing this for a moment, I'm gonna bring in the OG, the original HomePod. I have 4 of these at home. And I'm just gonna at least do a side-by-side comparison for you to see over here. And what you can see, if you look at this is the original HomePod on my right side. And on the left side here is the new generation HomePod. The top here, you can see it's basically almost flush with the knitted material surface. Over here, it's slightly recessed. Now you can visually see the plus and the minus for volume up and down buttons really clearly here on the top. Now here, they show up during the touch display. If you look at these really close, I don't know if you can see them on camera, but you can kind of see it here. The first generation HomePod was 6.8 inches tall and 5.5 pounds in weight. The new HomePod is 6.6 inches tall and 5.1 pounds in weight. I mean, if you handed these to me, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference. No, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You also have obviously the port where you connect the power. Now the power here is a little different, and this is something that people are curious about. In the original one, you had to really pull it hard and you weren't technically advised to, but in this new one, we're gonna have a new power cable connection that kind of has the dual prongs. If you look carefully into that, I'm also gonna take this seal off on the bottom of the new HomePod. And if you can look here, this is the first gen HomePod that kind of had a design where it's not a subwoofer where it pushes here, but this is a rubber design where it has a hollow hole. The new generation is flat. So what's kind of interesting is that the top is smooth on the first gen HomePod and then recessed on the bottom. On the new HomePod, the top is slightly recessed and then the bottom is flat. Now, other physical differences that you have here, there are 7 tweeters in here, 5 tweeters in the new HomePod, 6 microphones in here, 4 microphones in the new HomePod. They both have room sensing, computational audio to optimize how it sounds in a building and in a room to give you that best sound. So I'm gonna bring back the 2 new HomePods, and let's just also take a look here. This is the Midnight. Now, when I see the Midnight, to me, it really looks like that dark kind of black color. And we can see here on the bottom, and again, similarly, you have the power port here for the Midnight HomePod. Now, if you want to take a look here, I decided to bring my friend the Midnight Apple Watch. And so I'm gonna, just to get a good comparison, just to see, right? It always had like a tint of blue here. So I don't really feel like there's any blue tinting here as much, but Midnight looks, I mean, this Midnight on the Apple Watch, quite honestly, is darker than this HomePod. So essentially, we're starting to see them maybe use the word Midnight to represent that dark, deeper black. I don't have an original black or dark HomePod to compare the color, but it looks pretty much the same color. Also, this material is made out of 100% recycled materials for the for the Midnight, I can't even say it, the Midnight 2nd Gen HomePod. Well, let's take a look at the power cables here, and inside this packaging here, we have, with the Midnight, a fabric cable that maybe has a little blue tint to it. I can't really tell. It's hard to tell in this lighting, but let's just pop this in here. Is this the right way to pop it in here? Here we go. All right, and it comes out a lot easier, actually. In fact, you'd argue that this was made to be a lot more removable than the previous generation. The other one, you had to really pull it hard. You'd hear a really hard pop. Let me find the white cable here for the other HomePod. All right, put you over here, and we'll put that in place as well. Oh, it goes this way. Oh, okay, so there's a hash mark here that lines up with this, right? So this little line here will line up with that little line, and you just go boop, and it pops in very easily. Inside the packaging, let's just double check here. We have the manual. Do we have stickers? We do not. We do not have stickers. I'm not sad about it. I'm just letting y'all know we do not have stickers in the packaging. But other key features, obviously, of this HomePod, these are now bringing a new processor which allows for more functionality. An S7 chip is inside of these, which would be the same chip inside an Apple Watch Series 7. Also, what you have here is not only has it been retuned, this is the biggest thing, is how much better or different or similar will they sound to the original HomePod. That's gonna be interesting. And then in the new HomePod, they also have a new temperature and humidity sensor. This has actually just been unlocked with the release of iOS 16.3. So if you have an iOS device like your phone or a tablet and you go into the Home app, you can actually update the settings and update the software so that these will now enable you to use the temperature and humidity sensors. The main thing here that is interesting with these HomePods is that, look, I told you I have 4 of the 1st gen, and I bought them because of their audio quality. I bought them, honestly, they were on sale for $199 a pop back in the day, refurbs. In addition to that, we now have Matter, which has opened up a lot more devices that are compatible with this. But for someone like me who invested in different devices that were compatible with the Alexa setup, that were compatible with the Google Nest ecosystem, like I have Nest cameras, I have a Nest thermostat, I have specific blinds that are compatible with Amazon's product line. I looked on the list, and even though they are part of the Matter partnership, and I guess you call it the Matter group of brands that are working to have interoperability, those devices, all of those devices for me, are still not compatible in Apple's ecosystem. So until more of those things, really, most of my smart home devices really flip over, then it'll encourage me more to give Apple HomeKit a try. But we know the smart home is still a big emerging space, and maybe some of you have not decided on your ecosystem yet, and this might be a solution for you. But I think first and foremost, I really want to see how these sound, and other factors like they've still really kept it very tight with the Apple world. These two HomePods, they do not have any Bluetooth compatibility for third-party, products or services. So, for example, I can't take an Android phone and connect to these speakers to play audio. And that you could argue, why can't they do that? I feel like they should open it up a little more and encourage people to buy this product. But at the same time, Apple's really trying to use an Apple product with Apple Music, with a HomePod to get the highest fidelity sound. And if they want to kind of keep that chain intact, and that is a priority for them, then I do understand that, right? Being at least with keeping it within their walled garden ecosystem as much as possible. But I think ultimately, if they were able to open up for any, phone, even if it's not, the purest Apple sound, I think they'd honestly be able to sell more of these. But the design looks very similar. You could tell it was almost indistinguishable between first gen HomePod and second gen HomePod on first glance. But there you go. You got the fabric cable. You got a lot easier to plug in and pop in power cable here, both in midnight and white. The other thing to know about these is that if you want to create a stereo pair, right, connect this to a TV or put two in the corners of a room to hear audio and have them connect in stereo, you can only connect a new HomePod with a new HomePod. You can connect a first-gen HomePod with a first-gen HomePod. You can connect a HomePod Mini with a HomePod Mini to create a stereo pair, but only under those conditions. You cannot mix and match, so I want you to be aware of that. And this is partially, right, Apple has put in a completely new processor, add a few new features, and really they're trying to push people to move up and move forward. So I do think, though, like I said in my first kind of reactions, that as someone who might have just bought one HomePod and was hoping to get a second, that audience most likely will not be picking up a HomePod, which could have resulted in a whole lot more sales. But the HomePod available for pre-order, you will be able to start shipping them to customers on February the 3rd. But there you go, let's see, do I work out? Yeah, I work out.
You made it to this point? That's amazing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and share for more videos like this. I am ICJ, and this is Amiable Media. Catch you in the next one.